listen to the dictation that I did while I was walking or cycling or whatever. And um, I read through all of the things that I have written. I read through, and then what I do is I make a star by the things that I think are the most compelling. I may have come up with 10 ideas during the day for what I am writing, but when I go back through it, I go, something will strike you, and you will say, "Oh, that little bit of information, that little idea that I had, I can develop that further." There is a lot of value in going back over the ideas that you have written down or you have noted or recorded. And your mind will start sparking and you'll go, oh, okay, that thing I thought about yesterday when I starred that one or I highlighted that one. I think that's going to go really well with this thing I thought of today. And then pieces come gelling together and start making some kind of sense in your writing. That's usually how I do it. I just, you have lots of different ideas. Like yesterday, I was on a plane from LA to San Francisco, and all these ideas were starting to come to me. So I have my notebook always. I don't want to talk into my phone because I'm sitting next to people and I don't really want them to have to hear what I'm saying. So I always have my notebook and I started jotting down ideas. And one idea will lead to another idea. So then I'll go, oh, okay, well, maybe this could happen. But what if that doesn't happen? Then this could happen. All of your ideas don't just have to be the one single thought that you had. Start asking questions of that idea. Like, let's say I say, Aziz went to the store and bought tomatoes. Well, then here's a bunch of questions that I have. Why is he buying tomatoes? Why did he go to the store? Why not somebody else in his family? Why didn't somebody else go? Does he hope to accomplish by going to the store? Does he meet people along the way when he goes to the store? And what do those people say to him? Do you see how one idea can really get you deeper and deeper and deeper into a scene? All of a sudden now you have a scene. Aziz is walking to the store, but he is meeting, this friend of his, or he is meeting his mother's, or he's meeting an auntie, or he is meeting the shopkeeper and having a whole conversation with him. There are just, even within a very simple idea that comes to you, there are worlds that you can develop. Does that help you, Aziz?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, basically, I have to introduce scrutiny among the ideas.
Yes, yeah. Keep exploring and exploring and exploring. It takes time to have all of those ideas gel together. And maybe when you explore, when you take a deep dive into any one of those ideas, it may change where you started the novel. This happens to me all the time. Like, I think maybe my novel is going in this direction, but I let the ideas take me into whatever direction they want to go in. So let me see if I can give you an example of that. In The Perfumist of Paris, I did not know that Radha was going to go to Agra to find the missing ingredient, that mitti ittar. I remember as a girl in Jodhpur, I remember the scent of the moisture that comes up from the ground after the monsoon rains. Like, I remember that scent, and I thought, hey, what if somebody was to bottle that scent? So then I started doing research and I realized somebody has bottled that scent and it's called Mitti Ittar. And so then I thought, okay, what if Radha discovers that scent? How is she going to discover that scent? She has to come to Agra. And who in Agra is going to help her? Well, it's going to be the courtesans, the same courtesans that Lakshmi went to work with in The Henna Artist. So now I have this whole world that is coming to a full circle. And so then I think, okay, so she's going to go work with the courtesans in Agra. And what do the courtesans show her? What does that factory look like where they are mining, where they are harvesting this scent of rain? So it leads to a whole world. It just started with how am I going to get Radha back to India? Because I wanted to come full circle with where she's going to start living once again in India after living in Paris for 12 years. And so it all started with that idea, and that idea just led to me asking questions. How does this happen? And why does that happen? And who is involved in making that happen? Let your ideas take you to your novel, to your
Thank you,
story.
man. You have given a great example of Patrico that I would be that from that I could understand that yes, the the scent of rain which comes after it. Thank you, man.
Okay, you're welcome.
Ma'am, before we hand over the session again back to our hosts, I just had one question. I wanted to ask, what do you feel about the role of AI tools such as Chat GPT and Bard, which is now Gemini, into writing process? Do you think they can enhance the writing process for a young writer, or do you think they might be the doom for the writers itself?
Well, I think that as with any new innovation, it has strengths and weaknesses. And I think ChatGPT is great for research, really great. So let's say that you are setting something in 1890. Let's say it's a history of some person you have found very, very interesting in 1890. You can ask ChatGPT all about that person and what kind of environment they were living in, and what kind of family they had, and you can really build a whole story based on the research that you're doing in ChatGPT. What I think so far ChatGPT can't do is capture everybody's emotions and write a novel in a way that only I think a human being can. But you know what? That may not be far away. Maybe in another 20 years, we will only have books written using ChatGPT. I'm not worried because I'm at the end of my life. I mean, by the time that happens, I don't think I'm going to be worried about whether they're going to take over, novel writing. But I still think there's going to be a place for novels. We no longer, for example, we no longer rely on tangas to get us around. Now we have our motorcycles and our cars and our tuk-tuks to get us around. But, there are still people who want the nostalgia of those tangas, and we still see them clip-clopping around the major cities. They're kind of like a little part of the past. Um, so I don't know, maybe all of us writers will go by the wayside, or maybe Chat GPT will still just be helping us get to the point that we want to get. I don't know. If you know the future, please tell me.
Well, ma'am, I don't think I know the future, but as far as I think it's just going to be another competition in the mix, I guess. We still have people writing, and we will just have ChatGPT writing as well. So it's fine. We'll have someone else doing the same task. Ma'am, before we move on to our host for the winding up, we have another question. If you can take it, ma'am.
Sure.
Yeah, she's pretty much okay. Shawmi, you can ask your question to ma'am now.
Hi, show me.
Hello, hello, ma'am. Uh, I just want to ask that what are the factors which can keep us motivated even when we're we're handling a very busy schedule in our life?
Yeah. So you mean how do we write when we have such a busy schedule?
Yes.
Well, most writers I know, they actually set aside time. For example, I know this one woman, she's a very successful author. She has three kids and she teaches at a college. So she sets aside 5 o'clock in the morning to 7 o'clock in the morning before her kids get up. She writes every single day without fail. And that's how she gets her books written. So by the end of 1 year, she has a book. Let's say that you write 5 good pages a day, 3 good pages a day, maybe one good page. By the end of 365 days, you will definitely have enough pages for a novel. Um, and then maybe the next year you spend revising, cutting, all of that. So it is possible. You just have to set aside the time and you can't break it. It's best if you don't break that time that you set aside very purposefully for your writing. I know I know that there are so many responsibilities and things that get in the way, but let's say that you're in college. Let's say you're in college, you are doing the work, you're doing the homework that you're assigned, you are going to classes. You still have time in between breaks to do some writing. Maybe you have time to do some research for your writing in between breaks. And when you can go back, maybe late at night, maybe 12 midnight, you are looking at all of the different pieces of research that you have accumulated during the day. Maybe that sparks another scene of your novel or your story, and you can do it. Believe me, there are enough times in the day that you can actually make this happen. It just seems like you don't have enough time to do that. It's easy to go out with your friends, to watch a movie, to get some chips, to have that Coca-Cola. It's very easy to waste time. I think that it is important to spend time with your friends and your family, but it's also really easy to waste time. It's really easy to waste time looking at TikTok and Instagram and Facebook. So it's very addicting to do that. So I would say that the time you spend right now that might be a little superfluous, maybe it's not helping your writing, think about cutting back and maybe stealing an hour or two from that time and then writing during that. Does that help you at all?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Okay, so I guess we're on a time crunch here. I'll hand the session back over to Simran and Molly. Simran and Molly, please take it from here.
So, wrapping up the session, I would definitely love to know how did you came into the world of literature? Like personally, I love to know from different literaries. Like some of us has met that in our school libraries, some in some news articles or in some conversation. How have you been introduced to this world of literature?
I think that I was really shy when I was a little girl. And for me, books were a great way to dissolve or to, go into a world that sort of helped me escape how shy I was and how I think I just felt like I didn't belong. And when you read books about either young girls or young women who are doing extraordinary things, you can put yourself in that position. You can think, well, if Jane Eyre can do it, maybe I can do it too. She's an orphan, but look, I've got both my parents, so I'm way, I've got way more of an advantage she does, but maybe I can have that kind of courage and pluck to stand up for myself and to have a voice. So I think that, from a very early age, I loved reading about heroines and, young young women, young girls who could do extraordinary things, or even not even extraordinary, but they could just do ordinary things, but they could have a lot of confidence doing it. When I grew into a young woman, I went into advertising and I was writing these little stories. I didn't realize that's what I was doing, but whenever I wrote a commercial, whenever I wrote a radio spot, I was actually creating tiny little stories. Maybe they only lasted a minute, but they were stories. They came in the middle of a scene, they had characters, and they were telling some kind of tale. I didn't realize that I would ever become a novel writer until my 50s. And my husband had always said, I think you can write. I know that you can write. And I would always say, no, I'm just a hack. I don't do that kind of thing. No. And it wasn't until 2008 when the global recession forced me to put a hold on my agency work and to explore the world of writing. I went into a Master's of Fine Art program, and that's when I got my degree. I was probably 53 years old when I finished my thesis, and my thesis was a very early version of the Henna Artist. And then it took me another 10 years after that to actually become a published author. So I had no idea that I would be writing. I'm not, I wasn't as young as all of you guys are and thought someday I'm going to be a writer or a novelist. It was the farthest thing from my mind. But my husband gave me a lot of encouragement. And when I started writing finally, when I started taking a couple of writing workshops at night and then going into the MFA program, the words just came, the stories just came, the scenes just came. It was so easy to write. So I think all those years my husband was right. I like telling stories. I always told stories, even though I didn't think of myself as a storyteller. But you want to tell stories to people. See how you do when you just tell stories to people. I read an interview by Salman Rushdie where he said all of his stories have the Genesis in the Ramayana. So think about that. Those stories have a beginning, middle, and end, and that might be a good place for you to start reading a story, dissecting how it begins, what the middle is, how the characters have changed or changed their environments or their positions by the end of the story.
Thank you so much, ma'am. My heart is filled with gratitude. You have given us so much. You have shared your experience and so much of your learnings. It has been an incredible session.
You're welcome. I hope all of you, have a great writing career. I think you can. You have to be patient with yourself. You have to have perseverance, and then you have to have passion for what you're writing about. So I hope that you find all of those three things within yourself, and I wish you good luck.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Ma'am, before leaving, can we just have one screenshot of all the participants present? Well, it's around 11:15 already here in India, but I guess we still have some enthusiastic participants in the meet. So if it's just possible to have a selfie, I would request everyone who's present in the meet to open up your cameras, please, and we can have a selfie with ma'am, and we can move forward with it. Okay.
Thank you for inviting me. I love to talk to students. I like to talk to alumni associations and universities. And if you want to have me come out to India, just pay for my ticket and I will come talk to you.
Well,
Business class is preferred. And let's see, I wanted to ask you, are you guys in Mumbai or are you somewhere else?
So ma'am, we are from Jharkhand. Like it's a Birla Institute. It's a central university, of course, but it's present in Jharkhand. So we're operating from here. We're a literary society. It's a club basically in our institute here. So we can't be more grateful to have you here. Actually, we tried contacting. We thought we had a couple of members in the club that were very much interested in you, and they thought. But I was like, I don't really think if it's possible. She's like a New York Times bestseller, and she's got a Netflix adaptation working on right now. So, but the fact that you were able to join in is something which just swells my heart with like happiness, I guess.
Oh, good. Excellent. I hope it made up for all of those snafus earlier with the technology.
Absolutely fine, ma'am. Okay, so I guess, ma'am, we have that screenshot. It was lovely, ma'am. Thank you so much for joining us. It was really an incredible session.
All right. I love to see all your lovely faces. Thank you so much for coming on video.
Thank you, ma'am. All right. Wish you a good day, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye, ma'am. I'll just check whether ma'am has left or not. Just give me 1 second, guys. How do you see the participants now? Just give me 1 second, boys. Yeah, welcome, ma'am has left. I'll unmute everyone. Take care. So you guys can unmute yourselves after this, but okay, I'm unmuting yourselves. Okay, so what we are going to do is we are ending the live now. This was an incredible session, and let me know when the live is ended up. Do we have the live ended already?